Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, the authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. This is your Sunday social. And on today's agenda, we have a little reflection on the match last night. I want to speak about some specific details in that game. With Luke Shaw out until November, we have a left-back, Conundrum, Cucurella, Alonso, other names I'm hearing, Regulion, Bertrand we've heard. So we'll definitely dive into that. Dean Henderson has officially been sold to Crystal Palace, which is good news, but where will that money be spent? The Maguire deal is apparently back on, according to a certain journalist, and Ten Hag is set to get a new contract at Manchester United. We've got Shreyas alongside me. How's your weekend been? You good?
Yeah,
Better?
it's been going well. The way the last night the game started was,
Yeah.
under the impression that it's going to be horrible, but it's been a good weekend, and perhaps finally seeing some positive stuff, at least some good things coming out. So yeah, it's been a good weekend up until now.
Yeah, this week in particular is going to be a bit crazy, innit? Because you've got the
Yeah,
close of transfer window on Thursday, is it? I
yeah,
think. Let me
Thursday
just
or
double check that.
Saturday, Thursday, something like.
Let me check. Yeah, you got Thursday. Yeah, so Thursday night I think it
Yeah,
closes. To be fair, so you're going to see a lot of kind of carnage as usual in Manchester United. But before we dive into the transfers, everyone, make sure you put the kettle on, and we're going to talk some transfers. We're going to talk some football in general, and dive into all the things. So yeah, leave a like on the video for us if you can, please, and
yeah.
subscribe to the channel. Right, the game yesterday, Shreyas, I didn't get to watch live because I was out on a stag do in Manchester. I've now watched the highlights, but just give us, I'll dive into mine shortly, but just give us your overall thoughts of the game if you can.
The best performance that we've had up until now in this season. Secondly, one major aspect which I would say that the Ten Hag really needs to work into is that when in the first half and both in the second half, like just when the game starts, the first 10 minutes we are sometimes like asleep. Like it takes us time to wake up and grow into the game. And if whoever was watching the game yesterday live, they would have seen that in the first 10 minutes Nottingham were able to put past two behind us. And any other team, like with Nottingham, the thing was that we didn't. The one of the things was that we were playing at home, so our heads didn't drop after conceding the first goal itself. And secondly, for the first time ever, you could see that our midfield was actually working. And
Mm.
perhaps I think Ten Hag needs to find that balance between Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes when they're working with Casemiro. Someone has to do that task, beside Casemiro, not for the whole 90, but at least in transitions, and at least when we are on the back foot, you will need someone to come beside Casemiro. And yesterday we saw Casemiro actually able to play his game a lot. Like you could see him being involved, you could see him having an effect on the game. And that is the I think one of the major aspects of this team. Like if we want to be very very effective and comprehensive in games, Casemiro needs to play well. If Casemiro is not involved in a particular game, then it becomes a very very hectic game for us. So I think Ten Hag reverted back to the system he played last year with Eriksen beside, and Eriksen not being way too advanced at every single occasion. So overall, there were a lot of things to actually take out from that game. If you have to nitpick it, there are thousands of things that you can actually take out. But the major
Yeah.
ones being midfield shape was much better. Casemiro looked very lively. Bruno stepped up big time. Anthony stepped up big time. And just the fact that whenever a half starts, you just need to start it in a very active manner. Whenever if you start a game asleep, then teams like Nottingham are catching us with it. If, next week we go out at the Emirates, imagine if we concede like two goals within the first 15 minutes.
Oh,
It's not happening that we
yeah,
score three.
you can't be doing that. You can't
Yeah,
be doing that. Like I said, I was out, so I've not actually watched the full game, which you're going to miss certain bits. So I do need
yeah,
to. I am going to go back and watch the full 90 minutes, but I only watched the highlights on Match Today last night. After the first two goals in, I kind of got the notification on my phone. I was like, "What the fuck has happened here?" I know one of the goals was off a transition, wasn't it? It was a guy's name
Awani.
who I cannot say for the life of me. Yeah, he scored, didn't he? It kind of beat Rashford to the bottom. Well, Wan-Bissaka had a bit of an aerial duel, didn't he? Lost it. It wasn't great in it, and then he just kind of
It was a
pounced on it,
very
and then Rashford.
Both the goals that we conceded were very stupid goals. And
Yeah,
after the second goal, when we conceded the second goal, even the player who scored for Nottingham couldn't believe that he scored because he was just
yeah.
completely unmarked. He didn't even have to jump. He didn't actually, put any real effort in scoring off that corner.
Yeah. What about the goals that we scored? Which one was your favourite?
I think the first one was my favorite because I think for us to be in that situation where we create like these open tap in goals, it means that there has been more in the build up. The ball has
Yeah.
been worked out very very well, and we heard it last season as well from Ten Hag that rather than scoring bangers from outside the box, I prefer these sort of goals when you just need to tap in because it shows that your team is able to press and able to work around the box very easily, and that is why we were able to score that first goal. Eriksen was in the right spot. Rashford, instead of going for a shoot, actually went in with a very good cross, and Eriksen just had to tap it home. And I think the second goal was just it was just intelligence rather than what we've seen on a lot of occasions during set pieces is we work way too hard or we just try to overdo it at times, but it was just simple. He passed the ball to Rashford. Rashford chipped it in. Bruno made a very good run, placed it perfectly well for Casemiro, and we were able to equalize 2-2. And third goal, Bruno on penalties, he has that confidence, and he was able to take us to the win with that win. But
On the
I think,
penalty,
yeah,
was it a penalty?
yes, it was. It
Well,
was.
yeah, I thought so. When I first saw it, I thought, I don't know, it looks a little bit like a behind where you can see the two thighs kind of
Yeah.
clashing, couldn't you? When someone's going at that kind of speed and that kind of momentum, it's always going to knock them down. But we've had like Martin Keown, haven't we, in talks, but obviously jumping on
Yeah.
it, saying it's not a penalty. But you're absolutely 100% sure that was a pen, yeah?
Yeah. I saw a couple of different angles of it as well, and what I saw was that during that challenge there was no contact on the ball, and there was 100% contact with Rashford's feet. So
Yeah.
in that scenario, like imagine if it happens on the other end to us. Nottingham are going in for the attack, and Lisandro does the same tackle on a Morgan Gibbs White or a Brennan Johnson. Do you even think that there would have been even a debate as to it's a penalty or not?
That's it, innit? Well, apparently Nottingham Forest are going to appeal it, aren't there? Some of the decisions that the officials made. But I don't know. I think the officiating in general, whether it's for United or been against
Yeah,
United, has been pretty inconsistent on it. I mean,
it
the
has
Wolves
been.
game, that Onana one was definitely questionable. Then the Tottenham handball in the second, that was definitely
Yeah,
handball. Like, no
yeah.
doubt about it. And then you got a couple of flaky decisions in the Forest game. I thought, obviously, it was a penalty, but then I don't know. There just seems to be some form of inconsistency throughout VAR, and they need to address it because it's not just United games. I've watched plenty of games where decisions in the first couple, you're like, how's this? How have you started the season off
Yeah,
like this now? Like you were supposed to kind of address these issues from
yeah.
last season because it was a nightmare, but it just seems like we're gonna have another season full of that. In general, are you confident going into the Arsenal game now after watching that? Because I'm not.
Uh, how we ended that game was strong. So I would say if I had to go into the Arsenal game after the Tottenham one, I would be, like very, very, very worried. But I think after Nottingham, I think we have a fighting chance. I don't think that,
Yeah.
we'll make it easy, but I think we still have a fighting chance because Lisandro looked much better as the game ended. I think there are still going to be updates about Varane, how severe his injury or,
Yeah.
he was taken
What's
out on
happened to
half
him? Why did
time
he go off?
and Lindelof came on. And after the game, Ten Hag came out with a quote which said that they're assessing what has happened with him and whether it's severe or whatever it is. But for now, there is nothing. Yeah, yeah, go on,
Game. Could
go
you
on, go
see
on, go
it
on.
in game?
Yeah, I saw it. So actually, when it happened during the game, I thought it was just one of those crappy challenges or it just happens because he looked all right after it. It wasn't
Mm.
like he was struggling, but when he got taken off during halftime, I thought maybe there is something there because Varan is one of those players who has been very injury prone for us over the past few seasons, and I think Ten Hag knows that right now we are not in a position to lose Varan the way we started the season and the way we're actually walking in this transfer window. Losing Varane right now is going to be very very detrimental for us. So
Mm.
I think it was perhaps precautionary sub, but I think more of Varane will probably be available for us in the next couple of games as to how severe his injury is. Is he going to be fit enough for the Arsenal game or not?
Well, that puts question marks on Harry Maguire as
Just look
well,
back
doesn't it?
one
That
sec.
the situation with him, but Yeah, it's all right. Which we will touch on the Harry Maguire situation, but I want to move. I want to stick with defence, but I want to talk about the kind of left back conundrum situation. I'll read out a couple of chats. Sean's in the chat. Under my Cucurella, Ella, perfect timing. Look at that hair. Ten Hag needs to spike their shreddies with meth. He does. Jesus Christ. I think they need something. Whether they need meth or not, I'm not entirely sure, but that's a fair shout. But yeah, look, the left back situation: Cucurella, Regulion, and Alonso. Apparently, the three names that are on that list. Cucurella being the main one. I think Fabrizio Romano reported last night that we was looking at Cucurella. Obviously, he's been short of game time at Chelsea at the minute. But I do think it's interesting. Out of them three, the Spanish three-way, if you will, Cucurella, Regulion, and Marcus Alonso Shreyas, which one of the options would you prefer and why? And that's the same question to the chat as well.
It's a very tough choice, but one person I would eliminate is Marcos Alonso.
Yeah, I agree.
I think when it comes down to Cucurella or Sergio to Regulon, it is difficult because Cucurella was all right for Brighton, but last season he was shocking for Chelsea. Like
Player of the year for Brighton money when they bought him.
he was all right for Brighton, but he came in for a record fee. Like I think he's the most expensive left backs to ever been bought.
60 million money.
Yeah, and he wasn't able to do justice to that price tag, and Ben Chilwell took his spot in this team quite comfortably. So I think Cucurella is going to be very dicey. I think it's very dicey signing, and if he does come in, the question will be how does he fit into this team? Because eventually Luke Shaw will be back in this team. Eventually Malacia will also be back in this team. So you've already got two left backs already in that position. If Cucurella does come in, and when Malacia is back and is fully fit, and so is Luke Shaw, what is going to be the pecking order? Will Cucurella be, happy to just be a starter for probably the next couple of months? Is he happy doing that role and just be on the bench for the rest of it? I think there are still a lot of question marks over this, and I know Luke Shaw is injured. I think right now we're playing with Dallo and Wan-Bissaka, but if Ten Hag sees something in Alvaro Fernandez, I think this is the perfect opportunity for him to actually, start giving him some minutes. Because if he's not good enough, then if he's not good enough, then ship him off. But if you think that he has the talent and he can genuinely bring something into the team, this is the perfect opportunity for him to step up. He'll never get this sort of opportunity ever, I think, in his career at United.
Yeah. It's very rare when both your senior left backs are out in it. And that's what I was going to say. Should we not give our own Spanish left back, Fernandez, a chance?
Out of the choices, I think out of the choices that are available to us in the market right now, I would rather play Alvaro Fernandez, because with Cucurella, you don't know if he's going to come in and actually be good. Yes, he is experienced in the Premier League, but will he actually be good for us or not is a big question. Same goes with Regulion. There has always been hype around him that he's this very talented attacking fullback. Even when he came to Spurs, there was a lot of buzz about him. I think we were also in the running for him when he went to Spurs from Madrid, but he ended up going
under Ollie, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think both, rather than going for gamble signings right now, because I still think the fullback area is still not a priority. If you have funds, use it for Amrabat. Use it for a striker. I would still say go in for another striker and use those funds if you actually have funds to go in for a left back. I still think that players like Alvaro Fernandez can come good in that position, and you can actually save funds by promoting such youth players, because he has shown talent in the preseason in comparison to the other players who have featured for us during preseason. And if worse comes to worse, I still think Dallo can do a decent job at left back. Yeah.
Sorry. bad timing on the drink there. I agree with you. I don't know if he can't get into this team now after the preseason he had, because I thought he looked relatively good.
He did.
He's definitely good going forward. He looked confident. Maybe defensively it's lacking a little bit there. Maybe it is a bit of a risk to have him as your starting left back. I don't know, but the opportunity's there, and if he doesn't grab it now, you think, well, when they come back, you're gonna have Shaw, Malacia, and Cucurella there. There's not a chance he's getting a sniff, even in a fucking cup game. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of deal he gets, if it's like a 1 year or a 6 month, or I don't even know. But let's see how that kind of develops. I want to talk, speaking about funds there and how they're going to be used, and Amrabat's still there waiting. Of course, we have sold Dean Henderson to Crystal Palace for 15 million plus 5 in add-ons. I'm not sure how achievable them add-ons are. I'm not sure about the specifics. I haven't seen it, but his medical is going to be later on today. one, are you happy this deal has gone through? And two, does 15 plus 5 seem a little bit cheap for Henderson?
I
You
think
think?
right now we're very desperate. Like the way this Dean Henderson deal actually got announced, I think United is very desperate for funds right now, and that's why they ended
Yeah.
up selling him for 15 plus 5. I think the state we are in, we probably could have got 20 or 25 million for Dean Henderson. But I think the state that we are in, and because people know what the situation surrounding United is, that the people who we are dealing with right now might not even be there in the next transfer window. So there are a lot of question marks, but I think at least we were able to let him go. Like genuinely, we were at least able to let him go. And now that we've raised 15 million, probably we can use it for Amrabat. I know that Donny hasn't left, but it is still money which can be used in that direction.
One thing yeah, that's what I mean. One thing I wasn't understanding, people were saying, well, we've sold Henderson and then we've bought a backup goalkeeper from Fenerbahce, who, could be great, could be all right, because like not many people are bothered, to be honest. It's a backup goalkeeper. But he was 5 million euros, right? Or 7 million euros, I think it was.
Yeah.
So you still got money there, but we sold Kovar as well. But a lot of people are forgetting that. We sold Kovar for 8 to 10 million pound. So is that not the money for the backup goalkeeper? So then where does the money for Henderson go?
Exactly, because Kovar got sold for 8 million and I think 1 million in add-ons. And except that we were able to sell Teles for about 2 or 3 million. We were able to let go of some more players from the youth academy and Charlie Savage, Zidane Iqbal, a couple more. Yeah, Ethan Laird also there. So we were able to actually sell quite a few players. When it comes to the youth academy, we at least were able to. And in totality, now that Dean Henderson is gone, and you've got that 15 million, I think we at least had 21 million, at least, because that's the price that Fenerbahce. Yeah, and Fiorentina have actually come down to a price of 21 million for Sofian Amrabat. I don't think that you'll ever get a much better bargain signing for any other player.
21 million pounds for Amrabat is like, why they've not already done it yet? Any other club would just be like, just fucking pay it. Even if it's installments, you're talking like fucking 10. Get him on Klarna. Pay it per month. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck knows.
Because
it's ridiculous.
We did manage to sell Dean Henderson for 15. We sold Fred, and at least we were able to get 6 million or 7 million of Fred, which went towards the club. The rest went to Fred, but at least six or seven came towards our direction. And 15 we got just for Dean Henderson. That totals up to 21 at least. And then you've got players like Teles, players like Iqbal and other Charlie Savage, and those players, Emran as well, leaving. So I think we at least, from outgoings, we've at least raised about 24 or 25 million.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. Well, more, I think. Well, yeah, I agree with you. We have the funds for that. But I think in total, right, we've probably raised, I think, about 45 million in sales, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and even
Henderson 15 plus 5. Call it 20. Ilanga was 15. Was it?
15, yes. 15.
So that's 35 straight off the bat. Fred, about 5 to 10. So yeah, you're pushing near 50 million with Kovar sales as well.
Exactly. And I'm saying that if you've got 50 million and you've gone in for this backup goalkeeper, which I think has summed up to 7 million, then you're still left with a 43 million. And Fiorentina are only asking for 21. And you've got 43.
And when you look at our spending total, I think Rasmus was obviously 60, obviously 70 million euros, but 60. My brain's not working this morning because drank.
Onana was about 43.
Onana 40, so call it 100 and Mount 55, so 155. You take off the 45 let's say that we've got for sales, 105 million net spend at the minute. Add Amrabat onto that 120 is what they were saying is what we've got at the start of the season, not the start of the season, the start of the summer window. They were saying we can only spend between 100 and 120. So why that deal's not amped up yet or not happening, I have no idea. But that's some more news coming out about Cucurella, actually. United and Chelsea have had informal talks with Mark Cucurella. Chelsea are reportedly considering a potential loan move. So it looks like there's a slight development on that. But yeah, I don't know. I do think we said at the start of the show, it's going to be a crazy week in it with transfers. I think you could just expect the unexpected. I said Lukaku on loan would not surprise me, just because I know what type of club United are. Other players on loan, Gravenberch is still there. Maybe he might have a late move for a loan if he pushes it. You just don't know, do you? What the element of surprise with United at times is weird.
The most irritating part about all of this is for loan deals, it shouldn't be as much of a complication as there is to actual permanent moves. And
Yeah.
United are even able to stall like loan moves when it comes
Look at
to.
Donny's.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
That was my next point. What is happening with Donny van de Beek? Is he going to be staying? Is he going to be leaving? Is he actually going on a permanent or on a
can't
loan?
sell
There is
him.
nothing clear about Donny van de Beek right now.
We just can't sell him. That's the issue. We've got Lewis in the chat saying, "Oi oi, he was the stag yesterday." Yeah, can't think, man. He was the stag yesterday, and he's probably like in recovering much more than I am. So big up to Lewis. Shah Sam says Cucurella is the best of all choices available. I absolutely agree with that. 100%. Sean saying, hearing from my HP source that Henderson clauses are he has to smile on a photo with a squad and we get 5 mil. Well, we're not achieving that add on our way if that's the case. I'm sure he'll be giving an interview about his time at United and how he was trapped in a cage and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Shah Sam saying we are selling Dean Henderson, a proven Premier League goalkeeper, for 15 million plus add-ons, while City selling academy keeper for 20 million.
Yeah.
We are a joke when it comes to selling players. 100%. 100%. A lot of smart comments in the chat today. Vince is saying Henderson was at Old Trafford warming up with the players yesterday. He's going to London. Well, he's in London now doing his medical later on tonight, I think it is. Can you guys give my heart to my mate Lauren and tell him after washing up to take the gloves off and hit the like button? Okay. From Vince.
Yeah.
Very random again, but that's what Vince is here for. Now, Harry Maguire, Shreyas, apparently, again, take it with a pinch of salt, but this reluctant Nico, I think it's Alan Nixon, who's actually, you can't follow, you have to request to follow him, so he's got like a private account, which is a little bit strange. Hit and miss, some stuff right, but he has been reporting on the Maguire thing quite a lot, and he's saying West Ham have reopened talks with Manchester United again for Harry Maguire, but they are well short of doing the deal. The Hammers are trying to find a way to pay a little more to help United pay off the England centre-back. Do you see any late surprises with this one?
I don't see it. I actually don't see Maguire leaving. I think if he wanted to leave, he would have left by now. And the fact that he hasn't, left by now, just means he's going to stay for us with another season at the least. Yeah. And I think out of all the players that might leave, the only one who I see right now might leave is Scott McTominay. Like maybe someone just comes in for McTominay. I just think that it's McTominay or no one else. I don't even.
Yeah, he does seem to be outcast.
He does, and I think that's the reason because. I think unlike Harry Maguire, what I've seen a lot coming out from the McTominay camp is that he still wants regular minutes. He wants first team football. He wants to be playing constantly. And it has been communicated by Ten Hag, the manager, to the player that he isn't going to be getting that at Manchester United. And Casemiro, Bruno and Mount will be, your going front, your midfield three, at least for the foreseeable future. And in yesterday's game as well, Mount is injured and he played Eriksen. And he didn't play McTominay, which just showed that, what's the pecking order when it comes to the midfield. So I think if McTominay, I wouldn't be surprised if McTominay actually ended up leaving before deadline day, but it is still, everything is still up in the air. If McTominay does leave, probably opens up the way for a Gravenberch.
Yeah, just with them both, I don't know whether they should go back to West Ham and just say, remember that double deal you offered us? But just because if Amrabat's 21 million, and you can, initially I was like, I'd hold out for the prices because they are a little bit lower than what you should get. Like everyone's moaning about Henderson going for 15 plus 5. We should get more from McTominay, in my opinion, but people might disagree with that. And it's pure profit as well. It will help with FFP. So if you can sell McTominay for 30 odd million and then bring in Amrabat right now, I'd snap your hand off for it. To be honest with you, but just sticking with Maguire slightly, I thought West Ham. I'd already signed a centre-back, and I was looking up his name before because I couldn't remember it, and it's from Stuttgart, Konstantinos Mavropanos.
Mavropanos.
Can't say his name. 20 million. So I was like, well, why would they go get another centre-back? Does David Moyes still want him? Because there was rumours that he wanted to make him captain, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know if he still needs another centre-back.
The thing is, he has come in, but he's come in with an injury. And...
okay.
They still need someone because I think they're in the Europa League this season as well. So they need depth in that centre-back position. So probably one of the reasons why they're going for Maguire because he has experience, European experience as well.
You know, it's funny. The top of the league, West Ham, aren't they?
Yeah.
Now, the top of the league.
They beat Brighton with 18% possession last night.
I know. I watched that game because that was on in the bar that I was at. Obviously United wasn't on TV, but I watched the majority of that Brighton game. And West Ham on the counter attack just absolutely murdered him on the chance and exploited a weakness that you hadn't seen necessarily. But Brighton just beat Luton 4-1. They beat Wolves 4-1 as well, I think, didn't they? And then got put to the sword from West Ham. So very, very interesting. I think they look decent. And I could only imagine the memes if Maguire was already there and he was winning and West Ham was top. Obviously, the memes would just be saying, like, Maguire's taking him to the top. He's showing him what kind of player he is. All that kind of shit. But with Raphael Varane injury, do you think I'm not saying would you do this, but do you think United will still sanction that deal?
I think if it happens, it would. I think Ten Hag himself would actually carry him to whatever club actually pays that amount that he actually needs, because I think in the pecking order, like you saw last night as well, I think Lindelof will be playing. If Varane isn't there, I think I think for at least some time it will be Lindelof and Lisandro Martinez in that back line. And
you know what? Sean just made a good point in the chat. He's saying we've got Evans.
We have. We've already got Johnny Evans as well now. So, but I still think, for as a starting choice, it's going to be Lisandro Martinez and Lindelof if Varane is out for a long time. I think having Luke Shaw out right now is one of the worst things that would happen to us, because at least, if Varane is out, we had that composure that, Luke Shaw can play in there and he can actually do a very amazing job as a centre back as well. But now that he is out, and I think it was reported that he is going to be out for an extended period. So there is still no news as to when he accurately would be back. At least with Mount, we have an idea that, probably in the next 4 to 5 weeks or 6 weeks, he'll be back into this team. But there's nothing on Luke Shaw, which is a big concern.
I suppose one excitement we've got is Rasmus Højlund coming in for the Arsenal game. Of all games to come in, you've got Højlund on the bench for that. I think that's going to be interesting. Yeah. Obviously, we'll have the preview for the Forest game for the Arsenal game. When did we play Arsenal?
We play on Sunday.
Sunday, yeah. So we'll have it probably Friday, Saturday. We'll have the preview for that. That's going to be interesting. We've got Hashim Kazembe who says, hi, guys. Hello to Hashim. Big up to yourself. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please do and join the community. Pushing for 3,200 subs, I think it is. St. Nolan is in the chat saying, Tadibo only comes in if Maguire goes. Correct.
Yeah.
Charles Sam saying Cucurella could also play centre-back if we get him back up to Shaw and Martinez. I don't know about Cucurella as a centre-back in the back four.
I know he's done it in the back as a left back, to be really honest.
Yeah, true. To be honest, we could even see Casemiro drop back to centre-back some games when Amrabat comes in. Yeah, Casemiro did it against Bournemouth, didn't he? And he played like a fucking quarterback from what I remember. So, yeah, absolutely spot on with that, Sean. Right, the next bit I want to discuss, Ten Hag new contract. It's been reported Eric Ten Hag is set to be handed a new 4-year deal before the end of the year. His current 9 mil a year could increase to 14 million a year. Is that the correct decision, Dreas?
I think it is. I think this is the first manager, I would say, that, after Sir Alex has actually been able to, play progressive football and actually reignite players at the same time. And you can actually see development, not just in the first 11, in the bench, also in the youth academy. I don't remember the last time I saw coming out from a manager that, they're taking such an interest in the youth academy. They're trying to mirror what happens in the first team in the youth academy as well. So the players won't feel so out of space when they actually, get promoted to the first team. He expects at least 1 or 2 players to make a first team position their own for coming out from the youth academy. And we've got some incredible talents actually coming out. Ever since Ten Hag has come in. Kobe Mainoo, I think when Kobe Mainoo comes back, he's going to be an absolute rock in this midfield. He'll take a starting spot in this midfield for sure. Alejandro Garnacho, I think, had a breakout season last year, and I still believe this season is going to be big for him. He'll do an incredible job for us this season. Ahmad and Pellistri were 2 wingers who were written off under Oli as well as Ragnick. There was absolutely nothing on them because.
Did he get on last night, Palestra?
What?
Did Palestra get on last night as a sub? Did he play? No. Sorry to. He said that so sad. Then you went no. Yeah, I saw a lot of rumours. I was right about Martial. But the
I was very excited.
Was false, but I think he had a good game anyway. So.
Yeah, and I think all we saw from Ahmad and Pellistri was that they were just in the under 21s. They never got minutes. They were not even loaned out. I don't think that there was anything about them. Like, and once Ten Hag has actually come in, Ahmad went out on loan to Sunderland, had an incredible season. He's been involved heavily during pre-season and will
I
be,
can't wait to see him.
I think he'll
Can't wait
once
for it.
again. I think he'll be a very very good backup for Anthony on that right hand side. And
Yeah.
another positive thing about him is that he having Ahmad means that you have got a second winger who has a left foot, not just a right foot. Because we that is an area we've genuinely lacked at for quite a lot of
Yeah.
seasons. Pellistri also seems to get much more involved, probably gets loaned out, and except all of this, you can actually see players like Rashford actually getting development, something that they missed out
Yeah.
on a big patch in their careers. You could see Bruno actually being used in such a versatile manner as a 6, as an 8, as a 10 on the wings. You could see players like Luke Shaw, who people had doubt can be a good left back for us. So that, last season he came out as a much better centre back as well in certain games. So I think he's worked wonders with this team. Going through a season and coming in third without a striker is a very very big feat, and especially in the Premier
Mm.
League. And I think I think with Ten Hag, I see us on the upwards trajectory, and you never know what kind of trophy he can actually win with this team, because one thing about him is he takes every single competition seriously, whether it's a Champions League or a Carabao Cup, he treats it with the same seriousness.
Yeah. One thing with managers is when they look back they always look at stats, how many games they've won, the win percentage, trophies, of course, and all these things matter. When you put it into perspective, the things he's dealt with off the pitch as
Yeah.
well, and with the owners and the board, I don't even want to call them a board of directors. I don't know what the fuck they are, but they're clueless at the minute. He's had to deal with everyone above him who just doesn't really know what they're doing. They don't have a clue. Like, they shouldn't be working at Manchester United.
Yeah.
And the Glazers, who were just, I mean, I don't even need to get into that. Everyone knows,
Sure.
basically a bag of shit. But like, he's had to deal with the Greenwood situation. You had the Ronaldo situation last year with fucking doing an interview, Piers Morgan exposing the club, etc. David De Gea situation, back and forth with that. Like, that was a bit messy. Probably other things that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. Having Weghorst as your main striker for like half a season. Martial constantly injured.
Having to play a person you signed as for a striker to actually play as a 10 just to get something out of him.
At the new camp. and he still got a draw at the new camp playing Weghorst as a 10. Crazy. That alone still tells you the statement.
Yeah.
Like, he is, I fully believe he is the right guy for the job. I do. I think he's had a tricky start. What that is, whether that's a combination of things off the pitch, whether pre-season, for commercial reasons maybe, because he was travelling to a lot of places, weren't they? They're going Vegas, they're in fucking Ireland, in Dublin, they're in Oslo. Like, they're travelling all over the place.
Once again, these players, in the true sense, actually just got like 8 to 9 days of full rest. After that, they had to go for international break as well.
Internationals, yeah. So, like, you have to question how tired they actually are, because last season they put in a shift.
Yeah.
A shift. Bruno Fernandes, I've always said, I'd love to know what he has for breakfast, because he is just, that guy never tires, never ever tires. But I thought with the start of the game against Wolves and the game against Spurs in particular, they looked tired in moments, like the second half. I was like, I'm really worried about this, because this is a long season, Shrey, as you know, with like 60 games. So, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was just
going in that. I think that's the reason he's pushing in. So he's pushing in very actively for another forward as well as another midfielder. That is the only reason. Because I think a biggest setback for him this season was that Kobe Mainoo was injured in pre-season itself. I think if he wouldn't have been injured, I think we would have seen him much more involved in the during the start of the season. Like, I think his blueprint for this season was that Mainoo will be a figure as a 6 or an 8. He'll definitely be a figure in that midfield, and Casemiro would wrap out alongside him. And then you have Mount and Fernandes switching out in the 10. I think that was the kind of thing that he was actually going with. And it is quite similar to last season. Like, when pre-season ended, Anthony Martial was going to be his main striker because he looked absolutely amazing during pre-season. Then Martial got injured for practically the entire season. And now, Kobe Mainoo gets injured for at least about a couple of months. So, yes, I think it's a bit unlucky for him that the player he sometimes relies on a lot just manages to gets injured. But I think we had a very terrible start last season. In the first 3 games we were able to just get 3 points. At least now we are in a better stage, and I think people once again were reacting so heavily. They were overreacting
Yeah,
because it's just the
Ten
start
Hag
of the
out
season.
was trending
Yeah, it
on
was
Twitter yesterday. I was
in
like,
the
what?
first 10
Is everyone all
minutes.
right?
And after the 90 minutes,
Like,
it was 3-2. So I think people just overreact. And especially, I think with United, they love to overreact that, oh my God, they conceded two in the first 10.
yeah.
It's just, United are one of the favorite targets of the media.
Sorry, you lagged a little bit there.
Yeah, I was just saying
You
that
good now?
I think, yeah, I think United are just the favorite target for the media, especially when we are not playing well, or and I think that is the major concern I have with Rasmus Højlund actually coming in as well. Like he is going to be a very very big
Oh yeah.
target, especially in that Arsenal game as well. Like if he comes in
If
and
he
does
doesn't
not have
score
this
in
game,
that first Arsenal game, they're going to be on him. Like
and
they'll
they
have a
won't see the
target on his
fact
back.
they won't actually see the fact that in the first three games, whatever goals we have scored, none of them have come through our attackers. Like our attackers have zero goal
No,
contributions this season.
how mad is that? Yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah, not good enough that first three games and Rashford, Anthony, Sancho, Martial, none of them have scored.
Yeah.
That's worrying. That's the most worrying thing
Varane,
for me.
Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno are combined top strikers for us.
Oh, unbelievable! It's crazy, isn't it? Like they need to start once they start hitting form. Like I know we've conceded 4 goals in 3 games, but once they start hitting form, you can start outscoring teams then. Because if you are leaky defensively, at least you can outscore teams like fucking Nottingham Forest or like Sheffield or whoever it is you're playing. The main worry for me is, like you say, maybe not Arsenal, because even Arsenal look a little bit flaky at the minute against Fulham. They was a little bit leaky. Their system, though, Arteta's changed certain things. I just don't see it working at the minute. Bringing Kai Havertz in, playing Thomas Partey as a right back. I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't see it working. So I don't know, maybe. I think it's a fascinating game next weekend between Arsenal and United. I really, really do. And then that's going to be end to end, and I think it's going to. I think it's going to be similar to last year. Do you know we played them at the Emirates and Sandro scored,
3-2.
and Rashford scored that fucking worlder, which was my goal of the season. So I think that's going to be very, very interesting. Let's see what people are saying in the chat though. Let's read comments out.
Yeah, sure.
I'm scroll up a little bit. Don't hurt Shreyas' feelings, Nick. I think it's alluding to the Palestri thing. I really like Palestra. Reminds me of Kanchelskis, says Sean. That's a throwback. Hashim Kazembe says Gravenberg on loan. I'd take that all day, mate. All day. Sean says ironing board of directors set fire to them with the iron and throw them in the bin. Wow. That is strong feelings from Sean. Marky Mark says, thanks for going, Hendo. Please ask Maggie to go with you. Yeah, like a double package. Palace don't need centre back. They've got Anderson and Gay, haven't they, to be fair, so I don't think they'd ever buy Maguire. Hashim says, is Rasmus Højlund going to start his first debut versus Arsenal? I don't think he'll start, but he'll
come on the bench.
Be on the bench.
You never know with Ten Hag.
Yeah.
Like last season,
exactly.
He last season he got Anthony and he played him directly in that Arsenal game and he scored.
Yeah, and Anthony scored as well, so there might be something in that. Yeah, you make a good point there, Shreyas. Charlie Malman says, I do not want any of those 3 left backs. I actually would let Fernandes play. And then Kevin VE says, Fernandes, give him a go. He's young. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way, if you're new to Real Reds Talk. We appreciate every single one of you getting your comments in. But yeah, we've already slightly discussed the left-back situation, but I don't know if I would take it. This might be unpopular. I don't know if I would take the gamble on Fernandes and having him start as your main left-back. I would like to bring him in slowly in cup games and develop him. Throwing him right in now, let's say against Arsenal.
Not the best game for him to start off.
No, a lot of pressure.
Especially away from home. I wouldn't play him away from home because away from home, we don't have the mentality to play. At least when we're playing at home, he'll have 10 other players to rely on. I don't think that we can say the same when he's playing away, especially at a team like an Arsenal.
And especially the way we're playing at the minute as well, it's a bit, all over the shop, innit? So, Declan Till says, swerve off signing any left back. How long do they reckon these left backs will be out for? Yeah. Dallo played perfectly first there too. Stick the door on Amrabat and try and get another forward in. Look, I agree Amrabat is the one signing I think a lot of United fans would agree would be the first one you bring in now. A backup striker or a lone striker, I don't know how they're going to do it, but I've always said João Felix or something like that I would bring in just as a bit of cover, even though he's not an out-and-out number 9. But the left back, I don't know, you can say Dalot plays good there, but then what do you do if Wan-Bissaka gets injured? It's a gamble, isn't it? Like, in reality, football terms speaking, yes, I'd be happy to have Dalot at left back and Wan-Bissaka there, but you have to think about the future. If Wan-Bissaka gets a huge injury against Arsenal, and we haven't gone and got a left back in the market because Dallow's playing there.
And Varane is injured at the same time, so we can't even play Lindelof in there.
That's what I mean. It's risky to do it, and then you lose out then. So no matter what, the manager and the board will always get cover first in that kind of regard because they need it in that sense. Mike82 is in the chat saying, afternoon, lads. Big up to you, Mike, and thank you for joining us. Jeremy Mama says, Dallo Fernandez worked well on the left side of the pitch. The first player we need to come in is Amrabat. And Kevin VE says, let's get this Amrabat deal done now. Henderson sold, move it, get your finger out. Worst case, we could play Lindelof out on the left side too. I watched Lindelof. Do you remember what game I'm going to say?
Atletico Madrid.
Atletico Madrid. You remember the lineup came out?
Yeah.
And it was Maguire, Lindelof, Varane, was it? I think.
Maguire, Varane as centre backs. Lindelof was playing on the right, and we had Luke Shaw playing. Alex Telles playing from the left.
Yeah, Telles it was. I mean, it was like, is that a back three? And they were like, no, it can't be a back three because. And then eventually Ragnick was like, oh yeah, Lindelof's playing right back. It was like, oh fucking hell, here we go. Like, no, too slow. Like, he can cover there, but it's like saying he can play in DM. And like, I have to play players out of position, just, putting square pegs in round holes, essentially. Could even play a 3-5-2, have Anthony at left wing back. What's this wing back thing with Anthony? Have you seen this before?
No.
I've seen loads of people saying it, but I'm like, I don't get it. Like, because obviously he works really hard off the ball. Yeah. I take that notion, and he's good at getting back defensively and stuff. I don't know. He'll be doing them like chops, he does on the edge of the box where he's just like, what? He'll be doing that at like our 18-yard box. Like, I don't want none of that shit. What are we messing about there? Like,
sometimes when he just leaves the ball, sometimes he just leaves the ball and Bruno collects it or someone collects it. If we want, imagine he leaves the ball and we are playing Maguire at centre back beside him, and Maguire has to take control of the ball.
No, I don't want any of that. Have you lads seen the Marcus Alonso links? Yeah, we spoke about that. So the three names that we've been linked with are three Spanish left backs, ironically, and we have a Spanish left back ourselves. So Marcus Alonso, Cucurella, and Serge Regulion are the three names that are on the list. And obviously we have Alvaro Fernandez as well. So we're going all out for Spain, apparently. Glazers do one sell off and fuck off home. Yeah, I think that's a point that we hadn't made so far. Big up everyone who was at the protest yesterday, who stayed for 60 minutes or so, I think it was. That was organised by the 1958. I got offered a VIP package for yesterday's game and had to turn it down because I was going to a stag do. So I would have been at the game and I would have done the sit-in if I was there, but I had other duties as per. But yeah, big up to everyone who did say, sends a message out there, lets people know that the message that's always been there for 18 years is that we want these fucking Glazers gone. And yeah, it's not necessarily about, make sure fucking BBC are reporting it or whatever. It's just making a point, making a stand that this is what we fully believe and it needs to happen. And everything that's happened over the transfer window, it just proves that everything's gone at board level. So the last question I wanted to ask you, Shreyas, because we're getting to the 45-minute mark now. How do you see this transfer window going now? We've got 6 days to wrap it up until Thursday. Well, less than that, I think it is. I don't know. My mind's not working. But yeah, the transfer window deals. Do Manchester United get anybody in this week? And does anybody else leave the club?
I think Amrabat does come in. I think Amrabat will be there. I think the way Ten Hag seems so calm, the way Ten Hag has been, I think he's pretty much laid it out for the club that he desperately needs another midfielder in there who can do a job as a 6, as an 8, and Amrabat is that sort of player. And I think it's not even a ridiculous price, like 21 million. I think now that Henderson has left, I think regardless Donny leaves, I think Amrabat will come in. I think he's the only signing that we can make, because except that, I don't see another forward coming in. Like, it has genuinely been absolutely dead when it comes to forwards. Like, there has been nothing being announced that United is linked with any forward, even on a loan deal or anything. So I think we'll be relying on the youth for pretty much when it comes to the forward line. Except that I think the midfield Amrabat is going to be just another key to the puzzle who will be coming in. And except that I don't even see another left back coming in. I think it's just a.
What about outgoings?
Outgoings, maybe McTominay, but except that, no one. I think McTominay, just for the fact that I've heard him say that he wants regular minutes, and if he genuinely wants regular minutes, I think he'll leave. But once again, will Ten Hag be in a position to commission it when we've not signed Amrabat yet? I think if he can only leave once Amrabat comes in, If we manage to sell McTominay and Amrabat isn't there, I don't think that sort of scenario will ever happen.
I'm going to go bold with my prediction. I think it's going to be a crazy week. I really, really do. I think we do get Amrabat eventually. I think it'll be and hour in maybe till even the last day, and we get that deal over the line. I think 1 or 2 players might leave who you might not expect to leave. I don't know who that'd be, but I think there'd be a couple of surprises there. I think the players that we're bringing will be Amrabat. I think we'll get a left back on loan, probably Cucurella. And people might think I'm crazy and I'm optimistic here. I think we might get another loan in. No, definitely not that crazy. Well, I think there might be another loan in there, whether that's Gravenberg or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, let's see what happens.
I think if that happens, I'll be actually very, I'll be pretty happy with this window. Like if we are able to get Amrabat as well as Gravenberg in, because it just opens up a lot of options when you have to structure that midfield. Like you've already got Bruno Fernandes in there, and then you want an 8 and a 6. You can play Gravenberg, Casemiro. You can play Casemiro, Amrabat, Bruno. You can also play Casemiro, Amrabat, and Mount. Probably, even play Mount or Bruno on the wings in certain fixtures if that sort of thing actually gets called out for. So I think we still, like you mentioned, I think getting 2 midfielders is key, and if we're able to get Amrabat in as well as Gravenberg, I think it just levels up our midfield a lot more.
I think the 2 things that have upset me this window is 1, not getting Kim Min-jae, because I really, really wanted Kim Min-jae. I think he's a top level centre back for the price. 50 million is just like, you would have just accepted that 30 mil from Maguire, wouldn't you, and take the 20 mil, like kind of hit or whatever. And then the striker situation, like I like Rasmus, I think it's very promising, but you need him with someone else. You just do. Simple as that for me. Like, unless he absolutely lights the Premier League on fire, which it might sound negative, I don't think he will.
I think
he might get 12,
the
15
only
goals.
Two strikers for us this season are going to be him and Anthony Martial. I don't see Martial leaving either. I think
basically just Rasmus, because Martial's going to be injured most of the time.
I think a lot of people, they're wanting Højlund not to work, especially in that game against Arsenal during his debut.
Oh yeah, of course they are. Arsenal fans will be putting bare pressure on him.
Oh, 1,000% they will.
Every touch he makes, everything he does, they're like, way. So, but if you're signing for United and you're going to be the main striker, that's the pressure you got.
It's going to happen, especially at the Emirates. It will happen. But if he comes in and manages to score like last season, how Anthony came in and scored against Arsenal. If he comes in and just scores, like imagine we get an early goal at the Emirates and Højlund scores.
You know what's another interesting point? Mason Greenwood still hasn't gone yet. Don't forget that. He's still not gone out on loan.
There have been announcements, but nothing has happened yet. Nothing has happened.
Yeah, so they said he's not going to play for United. But then, so what happens if he doesn't? If we don't get a loan deal for him in the next 6 days, does he just stay at the club and train there? Like,
there has been nothing about him.
I don't know. Strange one.
I think the only thing what that actually has come out of it was that Ten Hag was promised that Greenwood will be fit and he will be absolutely ready to go by the time October rolls in. And that's why Ten Hag was very, very composed when it came to his strikers. Yeah. And now that this situation is not going to happen, Ten Hag has, because once it got announced, you could see that, Ten Hag, that leak was that Ten Hag has went to the board and that he wants another attacker very soon now that Greenwood is not going to be coming in. But ever since that announcement was made, there has been nothing about Greenwood, if any club has actually been involved for him. I saw that Roma were involved, but now Roma are going in for Lukaku, and they're very close to actually signing Lukaku. So I don't see them even getting Greenwood now. So what is the future for Greenwood right now?
Yeah, no excuses heading into this week. A lot of things happen on the last couple of days, as we know, with the transfer window. And to keep up to date with that, make sure you turn on that notification bell, because if anything happens with any sort of deal, outgoing or incoming, we will go live. Yeah. Usually on a Sunday, it's relatively quiet after game day. You get your paper talk and stuff like that. So we're not expecting anything today,
especially
but obviously if anything does. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if we lost, you might have heard some spin that's put out there.
If last night's game was like, last season's fixture of Brentford, like we managed to lose 4-0 to Brentford, and
you'd see all kind of shit coming out.
Yeah, you would see United have once again shifted. Like you were seeing leaks of Cucurella right now. You would see United are going in for Theo Hernandez. These sort of leaks coming.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right, look, we'll leave it there. Like I said, if anything happens, we will go live, so turn on the notification bell. Make sure you leave a like on the video for us if you can, if you haven't already. Subscribe to Real Reds Talk, because it's going to be a very busy week, so there's loads of content coming your way. Obviously, for exclusive members, if you want to become a member, we'll have a videos dropping next week for you guys as well. Just click the link in the description or the join button next to the notification bell. Once we hit 22 members, we'll do a live show where we reveal who gets to feature on a live show with us, pulling names out of a hat, etc. Drop us a follow on socials. All the handles are at the bottom of the graphic: TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And I don't think I'm missing anything. But yeah, thank you, Shreyas, for coming on. Thank you to everyone who's been watching. I hope you have the rest of your day is nice. At least United won, so it's not ruined the fucking weekend. And yeah, we move. Let's see what happens next week. It's going to be some interesting developments, I think. But yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care of yourselves. See you in a bit.